Good afternoon. The hour of convening has arrived. If you can take your seats and cease all conversations. If you're in the commission chamber, I'm going to ask you to respectfully put on a mask. If you're in the commission chamber, I'm going to respectfully ask you to put on a mask if you're in the commission chamber and you have one. Again, if you'll take seats and cease all conversations.
You need to get something downstairs. Oh, you can't, but they refuse to wear it.
No.
Well, I'm glad you did. It is November. Well, yeah, okay. Hi, Linda Bonner, Commissioner Chamber. Can you bring a box of masks up here for us, please? Hello. Hi, this is Linda Bonner in the Commission Chamber. Can you bring us a box of masks? I know. Do you all have any down that you pass out to the public when they come in? Okay, oh, you're out. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay. The hour of convening has arrived. We're going to call this meeting to order in just a second. We're working on some technical matters, and we're going to move as expeditiously as possible. Okay. Okay. I know it's a bit warm in here, and we're making an adjustment with that as well. We're going to move as expeditiously as possible. We have the marshals bringing some extra masks, and we'll make them available to individuals who do not have them. You're not being forced to wear one, but let me say this unequivocally. This is a real concern for us in this space. We've got more people in here than we generally have in this space, and the virus is real. And as such, we have a responsibility to make sure we try to take care of the health and welfare of everybody who's in here. And so marshals will be coming, and they will make a mask available for those who are in this space. We'll try to move as expeditiously as possible. I'm confident that you're here for certain matters, but again, we have a just and due responsibility to make you fully aware of that. And we will not walk softly regarding that matter. All right, Chair recognizes Madam Clerk as we call this meeting to order.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, we will have our invocation delivered by the Reverend Xavier Creekmer, pastor of the Beulah Grove Baptist Church, and we will ask our Deputy Administrator, Mr. Charles Jackson, if he would please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Please stand.
Would you bow with me in prayer? Gracious God, I acknowledge the words of Scripture, which tells us in all things give thanks, even in these times which try and test us in many ways. I pray that there may be a continued trust in your divine presence unto all. May this trust be seen evident in these your leaders, through the wisdom and knowledge that they seek you for, and which you give freely unto them, that they may be consistent in their diligence and determination to serve well. Give them clarity of purpose and of the people as they do honorably the task of government. Let compassion convict them, justice be a due diligence, and unity be a bond among them that becomes evident to all of Augusta in whom they serve. May humility continually anchor them, giving affirmation to their service. Cause their leadership, God, to give greater hope to the people who call this great city home. In this way, all who trust in those appointed in this season may see through their governing a revelation of you, that all may see that your sovereign hand is still yet upon all of us in creation. In your holy and matchless name, I offer this prayer, that you will bless, cover, keep, guide those who give leadership through this council and the mayor, and all those who are present in this place. May we reverence the times we're in and know that you are still Lord and God. It is in your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend, for that divinely inspired invocation. By these presents be it known, Reverend Xavier Creekmer, pastor of the Beulah Grove Baptist Church, is the chaplain of the day. May his spiritual guidance and civic leadership serve as an example for all citizens of Augusta. Given unto my hand the 7th day of September, 2021, Hardy Davis, Jr., Mayor. Thank you so much, Reverend.
Would you join me in congratulating Reverend Creekmore? Call your attention to the recognition portion of our agenda. Augusta and the Commission and Mayor Davis offer
Their congratulations to our August 2021 Years of Service recipient. We will have our HR Director, Ms. Anita Rookert, to make those presentations.
Good afternoon, Mayor Davis, Commissioners, Administrator, Madam Clerk, and special guests. My name is Anita Rookert, the HR Director here in Augusta, Georgia. Today is my esteemed pleasure to recognize August Years of Service recipients. For the month of August 2021, we've had 33 employees celebrating 5 to 20 years of service here in Augusta. This afternoon, I'd like to recognize our 25 to 50 years of service. For the month of August, the total years of service and institutional knowledge being celebrated today is 200 years. As I call your name, please come forward. Mayor and Administrator, if you would assist me. Pamela Macy, Planning and Development, 25 years. Gloria Francis, Sheriff's Office, 25 years.
Yeah, can you ask me to run down?
Jason Friedman, Fire Suppression, 25 years. Ernest Thomas, State Court Solicitor, 30 years. Leah Salazar, Civil Court, 30 years. James Perkins, Fire Suppression, 30 years. Marilyn Newton, Parks and Recs, 35 years. Again, congratulations to all of our years of service recipients.
Mr. Mayor, and members of the commission, we have 3 other recognitions that we would like to acknowledge at this time. We will ask that our Super District 9 Commissioner, Ms. Francine Scott, will she please come forward along with Mayor Pro Tem Bobby Williams and Commissioner.
I'm not coming down here.
You're not coming.
Long way to go.
Ms. McKnight, yeah. You had your head down. Ms. Catherine McKnight. Just let me choreograph this. Just come, yeah, right. Well, out front, yeah. Natasha, just the mayor with handing these out. Let me. As many of you may recall, on last commission meeting, we acknowledged these 3 illustrious elected officials for having completed the Georgia Municipal Association, along with the Carl Vinson Institute of Government, their certification for County Commission City Councilor. At this time, we would like to award them their certificate, which reads, University of Georgia, Carl Vinson Institute of Government, and the Georgia Municipal Association hereby certifies that Bobby Williams, Francine Scott, and Catherine McKnight has successfully completed the requirements for a certificate of recognition through the Carl Harold F. Holtz Municipal Training Institute, August 2021. Congratulations. Yes, they are indeed certified, Commissioner Son. They got proof now. Was that not a pleasant surprise?
Thank you, Ms. Bonner.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have extra masks available, and I believe they've been handing them out. If you don't have one, our marshals are coming around to hand you a mask. Marshals? Okay. All right, very good. Thank you. All right, outstanding. Thank you so much. Again, we're very appreciative. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go to the remaining portion of our agenda. We're gonna address 2 matters right out of the gate. that will help us move the agenda forward. There are two items. There's one that's a delegation matter regarding Mr. Jim Davis, the final report from the task force on monuments, and item number 21 on administrative services, which is again a companion matter regarding the task force on monuments. At this time, I'm going to recognize the chairman of administrative services for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, and to my colleagues, there've been some discussions in the last 24 hours around this issue. There's a readiness and a willingness among this body to approve this and moving forward. However, there's some internal issues that the community, that we need to deal with as a governing body. And as a result of that, we've made, one of the decisions that we've made is that we'd like to see this issue coincide with the restructuring of Broad Street, which we'll do by the third quarter of next year. So at this particular time, I make a motion that we table this for discussion and approval June of 22.
Second.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Voting.
Okay, thank you. That motion carries unanimously.
Okay. All right, I know that there were a number of attendees who were interested in that. Again, we'll revisit that at a time certain in 2022. If anyone wants to exit the chambers, we'll give you an opportunity to do that at this time. Is anyone interested in exiting the chambers? Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
All right, I believe that brings us back to item B on the agenda.
Okay. Call your attention to item number B, motion to appoint District 4 Commissioner.
Madam Chair, I believe that our posture, and again, I'm going to defer to our parliamentarian, that we will open the floor for nominations and receive said nominations, and at the point in time that we'll close nominations and vote. But parliamentarian, if you'll speak to this matter, what's our posture?
That is correct.
Okay.
Floor should be open for nominations. Nominations made, motion for nominations be closed at the appropriate time, and then the voting in the order that the nominations were received.
Mr. Mayor, I have a substitute motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So let's back up. We don't have a motion on the floor yet. There's no motion on the floor. Again, we read the caption, but we've not had a formal motion being made. So, again, I want to recalibrate everybody. The caption is as it reads. No one has made that motion. All right, so I'm going to recognize the commissioner from the 9th for the making of a motion if this is what your posture is. All right, let's suspend. Chair recognizes parliamentarian.
Based upon the procedures and practices of the body, that would be correct.
Yep.
There is no motion on the floor. If Commissioner Scott, if you make a motion, it will be considered the main motion. If you wish to make a substitute motion, you will need to wait until after a motion is made.
Okay.
Go ahead, just go ahead. Yeah, we gonna fight. No, we're not. We get ready to fight now.
No, it's not necessary.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Make your motion.
My motion is to delay this until the next full commission to make sure all of the community have had a chance to weigh in on this, and this will not be a commission motion.
Second.
Got a substitute.
All right, so you've made a motion. Is there a second?
Ms.
Second.
McKnight.
Okay, Ms. McKnight. All right. Okay, chair recognizes the mayor pro tem.
Substitute. I nominate Alvin Mason. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a substitute motion.
No, sir. He just, our posture, all
Okay.
right, everybody suspend.
Okay.
Our posture is that we have a motion on the floor to suspend action until the next full commission meeting with a second from the commissioner from the 3rd. That is the motion on the floor. The mayor pro tem has offered a substitute motion to appoint Alvin Mason as District 4 Commissioner. That is his motion.
Second.
Okay. All right, we have a second for that from the commissioner from the 6th.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold up.
All right, hold on. Yeah. The chair is quite capable of navigating through. Everybody just calm down. Chair recognizes the mayor pro tem for clarification of his substitute motion.
And my motion is to open it up to nominations.
Second.
Okay. All right. We have a substitute motion with a proper second to open the floor for nominations. That is the superior motion. We will vote on that first. Voting.
That motion carries 8-1, with Ms. Scott voting no.
Okay. All right. For the audience and for this body, there's only a single motion that's in front of us, and that is to open the floor for nominations. At this time, the chair will entertain nominations. All right. Chair recognizes the mayor pro tem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I blurted the name out a minute ago, but the reason why I do want that particular person is because a lot of people don't understand.
Mayor pro tem,
Just make a
if you'll
nomination.
just make your if you'll just
I'll
make
do
your
that.
nomination.
I'll do that. Alvin Mason is my nomination.
All right, very
Thank
well.
you.
All right, are there any other nominations?
Yes, there is.
Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 3rd.
I'd like to nominate Eddie Reese.
Okay. All right.
Make
Chair
a motion
recognizes-
nomination be closed.
Okay. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 9th for that. Move that nominations be closed. All right, is there any objection to nominations being closed? Without objection. All right, Madam Clerk, we've got 2 nominations,
Yes, sir.
and we'll vote on them in the order in which they were received.
Our first nominee would be Mr. Alvin Mason.
Our first nominee, Alvin Mason, voting.
That motion carries 6-1-2. Voting yes, Mr. Dennis Williams, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Ben Hassan, Mr. Sean Franham, Mr. Brandon Garrett. Voting no. Sir? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. John Clark voting yes. Voting no, Ms. Francine Scott. And abstaining, Mr. Jordan Johnson and Ms. McKnight.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk,
Yes, sir.
I believe with that vote, we have before us Commissioner-elect.
Yes, sir.
With that, I believe our posture is that we are prepared to swear said Commissioner-elect in.
Yes, sir.
Okay? All right. The commission will stand at ease for swearing in of Commissioner-elect Alvin Mason.
Oh. Okay, we're gonna go out front. We're gonna go out front here, and I'm gonna, cause I think he may want his mom, so I don't want her to have to trip up back here. Yeah, I got it. Put that over. Natasha, I get Natasha to, come here. Go over and hold the microphone for her when she speaks and him out front. And you can just stand to the side of her. Yeah, go ahead. Let's see how cool we get. Did you get it? Hey, get your, hey. This bag right here.
That's not mine, that's Natasha.
Oh, now it's Natasha. Now it's Natasha.
Ms. Moore, you want to try to get this one? Oh, no, it's on.
I'll just make sure will it reach over there to her? Oh, you got your Bible? Keep the word with you.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
We'll ask everyone to please take their seats. We're about to administer the oath of office to Mr. Mason, and we'll have Magistrate Court Judge LaJoy Williamson administering the oath.
You can raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Alvin Mason,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will truly
that I will truly
and faithfully
and faithfully
perform the duties
perform the duties
of the office of Commissioner
of the Office of Commissioner
of Augusta, Georgia,
of Augusta, Georgia,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I am not the holder
that I am not the holder
of any unaccounted for public money
of any unaccounted for public money
due this state
due this state
or any political subdivision
or any political subdivision
or authority thereof,
or authority thereof,
that I am not the holder
that I am not the holder
of any office
of any office
of trust
of trust
under the government
under the government
of the United States
of the United States
or any or other state
or other state
or any foreign state
or any foreign state
which I am prohibited
which I am prohibited
from holding by the laws
from holding by the laws
of the state of Georgia,
of the state of Georgia,
and that I am
and that I am
otherwise qualified
otherwise qualified
to hold said office
to hold said office
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and laws of Georgia,
and laws of Georgia,
and that I will
and that I will
support the Constitution
support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, I have one more. This is the loyalty oath. I state your name,
I, Alvin Mason,
a citizen of Augusta, Georgia,
a citizen of Augusta, Georgia,
and being an employee of Augusta,
and being an employee of Augusta,
Georgia,
Georgia,
and recipient of public funds
and recipient of public funds
for services rendered
for services rendered
as such employee,
do hereby solemnly swear
and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia.
and the Constitution of Georgia.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
If I could just have just a few words here, I just want to thank the commission for filling the seat and giving our community in District 4 representation. The vote that you cast for Alvin Mason was a vote for transparency, a vote for accountability, a vote for responsibility and credibility. It's so important that we work together as a community. I want to thank my mother, who is here today, be 89 next month. It's because of her that I stand here today. And I thank you for what you instilled in me as a little boy that allows me to stand here today by the grace of God and serve this community. So I'm reminded of the song that said, "Victory, victory shall be mine if I hold my peace and let the Lord fight my battles. Victory, victory shall be mine." But today, victory is Augusta, Georgia. We ought to really give a round of applause to this commission for taking action and allowing our community to be represented once again. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Just as long as they don't mind.
Last time I get this computer right.
All right, Madam Clerk. We can get back to the agenda.
Okay. Top to bottom, sir. Ready? Okay. Call your attention to our consent agenda, which consists of items 1 through 16. Items 1 through 16.
Chair will entertain any motions to remove or add. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 8th.
Thank you, Mayor. Since Engineering Services did not have a quorum last meeting due to me being out with COVID, we do have a few that I would like to consent.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 33, delete 34, 39, 41, 42, 43, and 44.
Yes, sir. Oh.
You may write them down for you.
Under
All
the
right.
engineering
Hold on.
services.
I know everybody's a little giddy today and everything, but all right, Chair recognizes Madam Clerk if you'll just repeat those.
Okay.
Commissioner from the 6th is his hand doesn't move as fast as yours or mine.
Okay. Engineering services portion of the agenda, offering for the consent agenda items number 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 33, deletion of item 34, 35, I'm sorry, 39, it will be the next number after deletion of 34. Item 41, 43, 44.
Chair recognizes the Engineering Services Chairman.
And Madam Clerk, on item 24, there's the word sweeping needs to be deleted from that motion.
Item 24,
Yes, ma'am.
sweeping,
Yes, the word sweeping shouldn't be there.
delete that.
Yes.
What number? 42.
Okay, Chair recognizes the
Did
Commissioner.
you, I'm
Yes,
sorry, did
Madam
you?
Clerk, it's in the last sentence on number 24.
Yes,
It
sir,
should
I have
read-
that. I just need a clarification if 42 was in his numbers for consent. Okay.
All right, Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 7th.
Motion to approve the added consent agenda items and consent.
Mr. Mayor.
Hold on,
could
hold on.
Commission consider adding the 2 addendum items? They were approved by the Public Safety Committee,
Hold on just a minute, Madam Clerk.
and by rights, they should be on the consent agenda for consideration.
Okay, let me draw everybody's attention to the addendum agenda. You've got the additions of
Items
item 1
1
and
and
2, and number 3 is additional information for 46. That's already on the regular agenda. All right? Okay. Without objection, Madam Clerk.
Okay.
And again, we're adding items 1 and 2 from the addendum agenda to the consent agenda as well. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Without objection.
And I heard Mr. Frenner make the motion. Did
That
we
is
get a
correct.
second? Okay.
Okay. All right. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 3rd.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I wanted to just make sure that we allowed Mr. Oliver to be able to speak during this, well, when it comes up for item number 37. He was here waiting patiently last week, and I just wanted to make sure that he will have the chance today to speak. Thank you.
Okay. That was 37. All right, very well. I appreciate you informing me of the same. Okay, voting.
That motion carries unanimously. Yes, sir.
All right, here's what our posture is. In light of what I just heard regarding item number 37 and Mr. Oliver,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go to that item first,
Okay.
and we'll address that matter. That's item number 37.
37. Mr.
Right.
Robert Oliver regarding ongoing septic system issue in District 3. Mr. Oliver.
Mr. Oliver, if you'll state for the record your name and address, and we'll give you 5 minutes to speak to the matter.
Robert L. Oliver.
Your address, please.
Yes, we've been,
No, your address.
2555 Winterville Drive, Augusta, Georgia.
Thank you, sir. Continue.
Okay, we've been dealing with septic tanks out there in Asbury. I've been out there 22 years. And the whole time I've been out there, I had problems with the septic tanks. And I talked with several neighbors, and they was having problems. And we started 5 years ago. I met Mr. Littlemeyer. He addressed it, and he told us that something was going to be done about it during the time that they were working on Bel Air Road. And he just told us that something would be done after that project got done on the road. But it never did come back up. And we worked on, I had James working with me, James Germany. He was working with me, showing me the different ropes to go about getting this done. But it's the problem of raw sewage coming back up in the house from the septic tanks. You got raw sewage running out into the drains in the streets. And we just want it to be addressed where we get the sewage, county sewage put in to our neighborhoods. It was promised over 8 years ago that it was going to be done, but it haven't been done. And we were just wondering what the problem is.
Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 3rd.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I have, ever since I came on board in January, I had heard about this situation through going to talk to Tom Wiedemeyer before his passing, and that was when I was running commission then. However, this is a project that many of you, my colleagues, probably are aware of, that has been going on for many years, probably 8 years or so. But I have been to different homes off the Bel Air Road in the neighborhoods, looking at some of the mess, so to speak, that the citizens are having to live with. And you know, we want some answers. As a commissioner, I'd like some answers to why this has not, why we hadn't done much of anything, and how much money has been allocated to this program, and how much has been spent, how much is it going to cost, and how much is remaining, and where has it been spent elsewhere as to why this project can't be done. And I'd like to see if Mr. Bond could speak to us about this. Thank you.
Do you have a question for Director Bond?
No, I'll make some comments
No.
around.
She
I'm
still
sorry.
has the floor.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Do you have a question for the Director?
Well, I'll let Mr.
Okay.
Bond,
Mr. Bond, if you'll
speak,
approach.
and then I can maybe answer some, and then Commissioner from the 6th.
Good afternoon. This is part of one of the last 3 large major unsewered pocket projects in the city. Travis Boykin Road area, the Country Place subdivision, and the collection of subdivisions at the top of Bel Air Ridge. This is all part of an area that originally was constructed without sewer. So the sewer was extended up through the Butler Creek Basin about 15 years ago in segments. It was brought up all the way through that area. Systematically, as it occurred, the lines were extended underneath Gordon Highway, underneath Jimmy Dice Parkway, and at that time, all the subdivisions in the lower part of the basin were constructed and tied into sanitary sewer. As of right now, there's a design that's been done on both of those. Mr. Wiedemeyer had started. Total expenditure so far on those, I believe, was around $2 million. We have looked at land acquisition. Due to the way the neighborhoods were constructed, they weren't originally constructed with sanitary sewer in mind, so there's a lot of undulation and up and down, and those subdivisions themselves weren't graded substantially. So as a result, it's extremely deep, and you have to be in the road in order to tie all these in. So what I've told everybody, and I've met with several of the homeowners out there, the subdivisions are constructed on top of a hill, and the different people that are having problems are spread throughout the neighborhood. And so that while you might bring a section of the sewer up, you might not be able to pick up everyone who's having a problem at any one particular time. The construction cost estimate right now is around $25 million for those projects. We've identified it as a priority, but we haven't identified the additional funding in order to do that work at this time. You heard the bond presentation last week. This is part of a comprehensive look at our finances and where the overall situation of capital projects is for the city of Augusta that I'm preparing to come forward with. And unfortunately, we do have homeowners that are out there that have issues. And we're trying to find the most economical way to solve that problem in the fastest time, because even if they're at the top of the hill, it still might be 2 or 3 years before I could get to them if I started today.
Any other questions, Commissioner from the 3rd?
I'm going to ask Mr. Oliver, do you have any questions that you would like to ask that maybe we haven't heard?
No.
I can't do that? Okay. All right.
Again,
Well, I'm learning.
Our goal is to address and try to remedy his issue, and to use the city services in order to be able to do that and accomplish that. Let's do this. Let's yield for a moment, and let's go to the commissioner from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Prior to 2015, to Mr. Oliver's point, it was more about homeowners doing what they were doing for themselves because the city was not installing sewer in that area. In 2015, when we came on board here, Commissioner Sayers led the charge in terms of, and speaking with myself and eventually getting me to see the bigger picture of this, trying to help the homeowners across Richmond County. We created a $10 sanitary sewer program, meaning that if you had the septic tanks you had now, if you can get the community or the neighborhood to sign the form saying that enough of them wanted it, then at that particular time, in a numerical order based on the subdivision signing up for it, they would come to your neighborhood and they began to install the system or the service for $10 a household. Now, be mindful, this service will cost you anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. The city was going to do it for $10. Also, and so after the commission passed it, it allocated $1 million a year. And what that happened with Mr. Wiedemeyer was here, they hired 3 plumbing companies to get on that and start that process. So when Mr. West Bynes addressed your issue, Mr. Oliver, he also had to take in consideration about the subdivisions who got ahead of you all in terms of whose addresses and information who had done that several years ago, and it also waiting to be serviced as well. I do agree, and that's why I brought up last week when the bonding company was here, that we as a city need to see what our range is going to be able to look like. When the administrator gives them a chance to sit down and look at that. And at the same time, see can you get enough plumbers on the ground at some point in time and get those other utilities in the ground to make all of that work. So even though you're talking to Mr. Oliver today, and trust me, we feel their pain. I don't know how many, Mr. Mayor, can you ask Mr. Bynes, how many communities does he have in hand right now? Would he already start design work on as well?
All right, Director Bynes, again, if you can speak globally to that, not only that issue, but really where we stand in terms of the sanitary sewer connection process.
Certainly. There's three major subdivision projects. Those are the ones that I've listed. There's numerous other smaller ones that are 10 to 12 to 15 homes along that area which do not have sanitary service. In addition, there's a few more that have been identified that have not been completely scoped and let to engineering. So they do exist within the community. The Bel Air area is about 1,200 residents, I believe. But the various other neighborhood associations might be 500, 300 or so in that area. The sanitary sewer connection program obviously was put in place to facilitate the residents tying onto the sanitary sewer by having a fee that they paid up front. We did the connection and they moved forward with paying their sanitary service fee for each month. I will come back in about a month with a program to say this is where everybody is in the overall process. There are many unmet needs right now, and while I appreciate that they have this opportunity to speak to it, I don't have a place to put them in the overall hierarchy right now, but I will be able to return with that shortly and give you an idea of when we really might be able to expect to have resolution to this issue.
But Director Bynes, I want to follow up with that. One of the great concerns, particularly for residents that are in the Tobacco Road corridor, both commercial and residential, has long been what is our plans from a sewer perspective in that corridor. Many have suggested that that's been a delimiter to growth and opportunity. Can you speak to that? And if you need to bring that back, I think it's high time that this commission fully understand where we are in terms of our expansion efforts. I'm aware of new development taking place off of Hepzibah McBean Road with the expansion of Arcadia. It makes it wonderful for us as a city to be providing opportunities, particularly for sewage, when you have substantial neighborhoods like that where you've got sidewalks, street lights, and those things that are in place. That needs to be standard fare for us as a city. So can you speak to that matter? And if you need to come back, we welcome that as well.
I'm really going to ask to bring back the comprehensive plan where everybody is. Certainly, the long-term sewer management for the entire city of Augusta is within our scope, and we should be able to address that in short time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Oliver. Thank you,
Thank you,
to
Mr.
the
Oliver.
Commissioner from the 3rd.
Okay, so
bringing
we're
that
going to
forward.
revisit this in a couple of weeks. Is that what the plan is?
I think that
Mr.
what
Bynes?
I would encourage you to do is work directly with Director Bynes and let's get
Okay.
an agenda item when he's ready to
Okay.
present that.
All right, we can do that.
Okay.
We'll keep up with each other. Thank you.
All right. We do have some folks still in the audience with items that were approved as part of the consent agenda. Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 7th. I don't remember what those items were.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Agenda items 3 and 4, we didn't mention them, Ms. Bonner, with the alcohol license. Do we have to?
Well,
And we've already approved them?
I know. What we can do is.
Okay, everybody to speak.
Any objectors, and then for the record, if we have any objectors that are in the ordinance.
Are you going to?
All right, we're going to do that. All right, Madam Clerk, if you'll, for those two items.
If there are any objectors to any of our alcohol petitions, would you please signify your objection once the petition is read? Item number 3 is a request for a wholesale liquor license to be used in connection with Beverage South Augusta, located at 1815 Wilkerson Road. Item number 4 is a request for a retail package beer and wine license to be used in connection with In-N-Out Market, located at 2311 Windsor Spring Road. Are there any objectors to either of those alcohol petitions? There are no objectors, Mr. Mayor, to either alcohol petition. And for those petitioners that are still in the chamber, you can now be dismissed if you like, or continue to see your government in action.
Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think our posture is on items, on the regular agenda, items 17, 18, and 19. I'm cautious about taking them as companion items because while they're all part of the same or similar code sections, what we'll do is we'll take item 17 by itself, and then items 18 and 19 I think are appropriate to be taken together. Okay?
Yeah.
So we'll address item 17 first. Our posture regarding items 18 and 19, as I understand it, Madam Clerk, there was a request to speak that was sent to your office and subsequently sent to my office as well.
Yes,
regarding those matters. Okay, so we'll give folks an opportunity, both for and against, to speak to those matters. Okay, we'll give folks an opportunity to speak for and against when those items come up. Okay,
Mr. Sherman, yes, sir. I think he said item 17 is
by itself.
Yes, sir. You want to come?
All right, so we'll take all of these items individually, each of them individually.
No, it's
Okay, Director Sherman has given some guidance on this. We'll address item number 19 first, which is the main matter. Okay.
Item number 19, for approval, the Planning and Development Department recommends amending Augusta, Georgia Code Smoking Ordinance number 7222 so as to provide that a cigar bar lounge is eligible for an indoor air certificate of exception.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
That was Mr. Hassan and Mr. Dennis Williams.
All right, we're going to have some discussion on this matter. I think I just said that a moment ago. All right, Director Sherman, have y'all seen the amendment? Has anybody presented the amendment? All right, Chair recognizes Director Sherman to present the amendment.
Okay, Mayor, Commissioners, the proposed amendment is to the smoking ordinance. And as Ms. Bonner said, it provides an exemption which would allow a cigar bar. Over the past few weeks, we've talked about this, and through the discussions, there were some recommendations to be included in the ordinance. One is that a cigar bar lounge is a standalone business. It can't be a part of or a room attached to an existing bar or a restaurant. It's standalone. One of the other recommendations was that a sign be placed outside of it indicating that it is a cigar bar lounge. And then there's some conditions for it.
Director Sherman,
yes,
can
sir.
you just walk us through the changes on each page? Just walk us through the changes. That would be appropriate.
Okay, well, the changes are just that there's a definition for a cigar bar lounge,
Okay.
And that 20% of the revenue from the annual revenue comes from the sale of cigars. There's no selling of tobacco products other than cigars. nor can you smoke any other tobacco products in the establishment except for cigars. You have to be 21 to be in. You have to be 21 to work there. And there is a 120, well, on this agenda item, they have to have a air cleaning system that is 98% efficient, and that would be determined at the time that they go to get their CO with their building permit.
Okay. All right, Chair recognizes the Commissioner from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, at first I came out in support of this endeavor. But after much reflection and what has been going on all over the country, not just in our city, you know, we're in the middle of an epidemic that affects breathing. People are dying from breathing issues. And I can attest from personal experience and personal loss that smoking does create debilitating disease and death. I think we're sending a mixed message to our city when we rally so hard, I think a couple of years ago, Mr. Mayor, to make no smoking in Augusta an ordinance, but we grandfathered in to hookah lounges. Then we allowed vape shops. I'm worried about the message we're sending to the citizens that maybe we put $1 ahead of your well-being. I think that if we pass this, we're also sending a mixed message to the bars that we do not allow smoking in. And I imagine that we're going to be sued if we do pass this. I think at this particular time, I think that we should take this off of the agenda, if not downright deny it. And so at this time, I will make a substitute motion to deny this ordinance. Thank you.
Second.
All right, I've got a substitute motion to deny with a proper second.
Is that Mr. Frannum?
That was Commissioner from the 7th.
7.
Yes. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do, because you're already in the queue. I'm going to recognize the commissioners, and then I'm going to hear from those that are for and against this matter. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to go to. All right. I'm going to go to our newest commissioner from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I look at this, and been looking at it for a while, I got a comment and then maybe a question, if I could ask a question to Mr. Sherman or whomever may be appropriate to ask the question from. Yes. And first and foremost, I would like to know what distinguishes the difference between cigar smoke and cigarette smoke. How do we distinguish that as one being okay and the other one being maybe not okay? That would be my first question.
I don't believe there is a distinction between them other than the source of where it comes from.
So I think to your question, Commissioner, Director Sherman probably is not the best person to answer that, but we've got folks in the audience who I think have sent out a communication that they'd like to speak, and hopefully they'll speak to that matter.
Okay, so the other comment would simply be that as we go down this road, we've got to be very, very careful of what we are doing and how the citizens are viewing this, and our businesses that would love the opportunity to have cigarette smoke come in, but the current ordinance that we have now prohibits that from happening. So I'm just very skeptical about differentiating. Since we can't truly differentiate, I figured you really wouldn't be able to answer that question, but I wanted to throw it out there. If we can't differentiate between the two, then how do we separate it and make one okay and then the other one not okay? And that's just a question thrown out there, Mr. Mayor, and my feeling on the situation. Thank you.
That's an excellent question. All right, I'm going to go to the commissioner from the first who brought this forward, and then I'm going to go to individuals who are for and against this matter, okay? To recognize the commissioner from the first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to, again, speak to this item. When this item was brought forward, it was under the understanding that we were having a conversation about establishing a different establishment, a cigar lounge. I want to say this, we have gone around the block with the conversation about how this would work, how we could make this work, how we could avoid having people coming into the cigar lounge with cigarettes and other things of that nature. If I go downtown to the hookah lounge and I pull out a cigarette, they're going to put me out. If I go to Soleil or anywhere else downtown, I pull out a cigarette, they're going to put me out. So the thing here is a cigar lounge, just like you would see in Rockdale County, just like you would see in Atlanta, just like you see in Columbia, South Carolina, just like you see in Columbia County, Columbia Road, to be more specific. It's an establishment where cigars are the only thing smoking, so to speak. And I think it's important for us to make sure that we are communicating that we are effectively communicating, that we are not opening a bar or allowing for the opening of a bar where people will smoke cigarettes or people will smoke Black and Milds. I mean, I can't walk in there and take a hookah into a cigar lounge because it's a cigar lounge. And again, that's just the clarity that I want to continue to give. It's the clarity that I've been sort of speaking to since we brought this conversation up over a month ago, that the exception here is that a cigar lounge and a cigar bar, so to speak, is totally different from a restaurant, totally different from a club, totally different. And they have popped up all across this country, especially in this area. And so, Mr. Mayor, that's just what I want to submit to the conversation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I was good until you put Augusta in the same category as Rockdale County. I hate to admit the fact that we've just lost by 315 people the number 2 position, but to put us in the same category as Rockdale County as the mayor of Georgia's cybersecurity capital of the nation, I'm going to take a little issue with that.
It's okay.
So I'm going to put that in the parking lot, at least that piece of it. And I'm going to ask for those individuals who are supporting this matter and those who are in opposition to this matter, if you'll come forward. All right, those that are for, if you'll come to this side. If we've got a speaker for the issue, if you'll come to this side, and then you'll be recognized at the appropriate time. And those that are coming to speak in opposition to this matter, if you'll be on this side. And if we have scientists, then the commissioner from the 4th asked a question that I certainly want to try to get an answer to. But yeah, that's the only thing I got, Commissioner, from the 1st. Yeah. A city of 206,000 people, and they got 92,000 people. Come on now.
I did say Atlanta. You know Keisha.
All right. To the gentleman here, if you'll state for the record your name and your address. And
hello, I'm Dwayne Pearson.
Okay.
3816 Woodlake Drive, Helsborough, Georgia.
You can, yes, you're speaking in support of this matter.
Well, first of all, I know a lot of these people are going to blow you away with all these statistical facts about smoking and what we've known for years what it'll do to you health-wise. One of the issues I want to bring up to you is we're looking for a cigar smoking specific venue. That's what we're asking for. We're not asking for you to change and make this county or this city a smoking city again. That's not what we're asking for. We're looking for a business-orientated structure, which we have is 95% done, and we just waiting on the city to approve that. We did our homework as well, and I appreciate all the information that you guys have gotten from your doctors and so forth. But it hadn't deterred me as as a potential business owner, not one bit, because I understand the dynamics behind that. Once we get into a cigar lounge, we go into that establishment knowing that it is a smoking establishment. We're not bringing kids in there. We're not bringing unwanted in there. We're not bringing people that's coming in there to eat. We are bringing a smoking-specific business. We're trying to bring that to Augusta. If you look around the state, if you look around at the tri-state area, Augusta, Florida, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and even if you break that down to the counties, why is Augusta, which is just, like the mayor said to me, it's still the second largest city in Augusta, in the state. Why are we being handcuffed and it's not allowing businesses such as myself to thrive and grow? I've been in the business for 5-6 years, 1515 North Leg Road, Icon Sports Bar and Grill. This is pivotal for the movement of my business and for me to be able to prosper and give the city something that you can be proud of and do it the right way. That's what I'm asking. I understand and I respect the doctor's opinion that they're going to bring up here and prophesize it to you guys to show you how good it's gonna be, or how dangerous it's gonna be. We realize that if I walk out in the street, there's a chance for me to get ran over. You know, there's always chance in life. That's what I mean. And I'm not saying that to blow that to, you know, that tobacco smoking to the side. But I'm just saying that we are grown men and women. We make conscious decisions, and we should be able to have that opportunity to do that.
All right, sir. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. We're going to recognize some folks again. If there's anyone else who is speaking for this matter, all right. Otherwise, anyone else speaking for this matter besides members of the commission? Otherwise, I'm going to recognize. I may not get to everybody on this list, so I think I'm going to ask y'all to select speakers. I've got Dr. Richard Lee, who this was given to me just before I walked in. Dr. Richard Lee from the Medical College of Georgia. Dr. Lee.
Thanks very much. If you don't mind, I'm going to take my mask off so you guys can hear. And I do appreciate your perspectives and the other perspectives, and I think you've been thoughtful about it. But I'd like to share my perspective, and there aren't that many fancy statistics I want you to hear. I'll try to be brief. It's very simple. You know, I'm head of cardiothoracic surgery at Augusta University. My job every day is to save people's lives. And the lives I save are from people who have heart disease and lung disease. And I have to challenge you right now. I might not have gotten a certificate for service, but I spent 20 years doing just that. And in one single moment, you guys can take and do more than I've done for the people of Augusta than I've done for my whole career. And all you have to do is not change the law. Just not change it. And I want to support that with just one number, 1 in 4, 25%. That's all you need in terms of statistics. What do you need to know those numbers stand for? Number one, what's the number one cause of death in this country? Cardiovascular disease. How many of us is going to kill 1 in 4? 1, 2, 3, that's mortality. What's the number one lung cancer, more fatal cancer of all the cancers combined? Lung cancer. How many of our loved ones die of lung cancer? Of all cancers, 1 in 4. That's it. That's not pretty complicated math. So as we talk about this, and what is the number one cause of both those problems? Smoking. It doesn't matter if it's cigar smoke or cigarette smoke. And so what I'm asking you to do is think about the ramification of this decision. You know, as you shared, we just had hospitals overrun with COVID. And what's happened is the people who are not getting vaccinated are taking resources from people who got vaccinated. That's happening. We're canceling surgeries, life-threatening surgeries every day. That all said, we're not talking about that. We're saying it's okay to smoke. It's really not, but if you do it on your own terms. Because what's the implication? And we're back to that 1 in 4 number. When you're a non-smoker and you get secondhand smoke, what percent does that increase your risk of lung cancer? 1 in 4. What percent chance does that increase your risk of heart disease? 1 in 4. So really, please think about this decision. It's not a small one. And once again, just by not changing the law, you guys will have a bigger impact in human life than I've done for my entire career. Thank you again for listening to me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Dr. Lee, I don't know if you're the right one to answer the question that the Commissioner from the 4th.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Mayor. My question was that I'm just trying to distinguish between the two. My understanding is that tobacco is tobacco. What distinguishes or differentiates between cigar smoke and cigarette smoke that would cause us to make an amendment to our ordinance?
The short answer is nothing. But I'd refer to Dr. Tingen, my colleague, who's also prepared a more thoughtful response than I have. But essentially, it's really, there's no difference.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Okay, we're going to go in this order, like I said. I want to try to be just in what we're doing. All right, I'm going to call on Reverend Booker. I believe you're on this list, Reverend Booker. And then we're going to go to Dr. Tingen, if that's appropriate, okay?
Good evening to each of you. As each of you know, Augusta University has been a partner of this community for almost 200 years. And in recent years, Augusta University, along with Dr. Tingen and her staff, have been in partnership with local churches in their C-Care project, and most recently with the vaccines and the testing. In the C-Care project, the modules focused on cancer in general, cancer prevention, early detection, healthy behavior choices, available resources, healthy policy changes, and the navigation to proper screening and care if needed. And lung cancer was the primary focus. They came and they shared with my church and many others, and we'll continue to work together. Mr. Mayor, it's our responsibility to be concerned and advocate and even be pushy at times when necessary for the least, the less, and the marginalized, and even those that don't make proper decisions for themselves. We're not only called to be responsible for a person's spiritual health, but also their social, economical, and physical health. Hebrews, I know it's not Sunday morning, but I am a Baptist preacher. Hebrews 11:25-26 shares a thought that Moses chose rather to suffer the afflictions with his people rather than to enjoy the pleasures of life at the people's expense. So the question must be asked and answered by those of us in leadership. Would we rather see ourselves, our businesses, public or private, excel at the expense of people? Is it our mantra here in the Augusta area, as some perhaps across our nation, and that some must die, that others might live and live well? Would we want to make decisions that will lead to their sickness, ongoing medical treatment, and rising medical costs? And I also believe that if we do make this adjustment, it will have at some point some impact on the city's budget. As pastor of the Broadway Baptist Church, 2323 Barton Chapel Road, I buried a whole lot of folk. Amen. But I want you to help me to help people to not bury themselves too early. So please, ma'am, please, sir, vote no, because I've done enough funerals. I'm going to do some more, but don't play a role in me having to say ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Amen.
All right. Commissioner from the 8th, or would you like to wait until Dr. Tingen speaks?
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
I do have a question. This question is for our attorney. All right. As many of you know, I was in full support of not going through with the original smoke ban just because I think that there is a place and a time for adults to make their own decisions in regards to what establishments you go in and what establishments you do not go in. But this ordinance was passed before I came into office, and so I had zero say in it. In regards to that, when that ordinance was passed, bars and other restaurants and other, not restaurants, but other businesses out there were told that you can no longer smoke inside your own establishment. So my question for the attorney is, if we start allowing amendments or changes to the original ordinance where other businesses were already affected and told they could not do something, and then now we're going to say, but if you're a new business, you can do this as long as you have the name cigar bar in your name. Is it going to cause legal issues?
Brown.
Commissioner Garrett, the law department has not been, that issue has not been put to the law department prior to this, so we have not researched the matter. Whether you're sued or not, though, would not be the question. I know you're not asking would we be sued. Obviously, we could easily be sued, but the probability of winning is what we would need to research to give you a definitive answer to your question.
Would you suggest that we possibly table this until you can make a legal decision to help us in regards to which direction we should go?
If that is the wishes of the body to consider any legal implications, then I would suggest that you do that. If the body is not concerned about legal implications, then of course, based upon its own policy decision, it could move forward.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to hear from our final speaker, Dr. Tintin.
Thank you all
Dr.
very
Tintin, if you would answer.
I am. I've got it as first.
All right, thank you.
And I want to first of all, congratulations to being appointed today. And it was meant that you asked that question. So that was all good timing. I want you to know that one single large cigar has as much tobacco and toxic products as an entire pack of cigarettes. So the answer to your question is, it's not any difference, it's worse. Okay, and I'll be glad to provide any references for the information I'm providing, okay? So it's not the same, it's worse, okay? I'm going to talk really fast. My name's Martha Tingen. I'm Associate Director at the Georgia Cancer Center in the Medical College, and I'm over tobacco control at the Georgia Cancer Center. Why is a cigar bar exemption to the smoking ordinance number 7622 harmful for Augusta? That's what I'd like to answer the question for. When you all voted to restrict smoking and the use of e-cigarettes in public places and places of public accommodation, you took a very important step toward health, to safeguard the health of citizens of Augustans, our service industry, and our visitors. And I thank you for being forward-thinking and doing that. To allow a cigar bar exemption now assaults, and assaults is a strong word, but I sincerely mean it, our community's health, and it is a step backwards. It doesn't matter to me what other people do in other cities. It doesn't matter to me what Atlanta does. We live here in Augusta, Georgia. I work every day in Augusta, Georgia, and even though I live in Evans, I feel like I live in Augusta because I spend more time at work than I do at home. And I love the people of Augusta, Georgia, and Richmond County. You know, I don't know this for a fact, but I am going to find out. We are in the middle, this is a fact, of a pandemic. It is written in scientific articles. It is known as a fact. If you get COVID, whether you are vaccinated or not vaccinated, and you are a smoker of any type of tobacco products, the chance of you surviving and getting off the ventilator in the hospital and coming home to your family is greatly decreased and less than if you are not a smoker or have been around people with secondhand smoke. So we're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, I never want to see a cigar bar exemption. Y'all passed a great ruling. Why go backwards? But for God's sakes, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We've had 2 children die at the Children's Hospital in the last week. I don't know the answer to this, but I'm going to find out. I would be willing to bet, and I don't normally bet in public or bet any not in public, I bet both those families had parents that smoke. I don't know that, but I bet those kids were exposed to secondhand smoke. I want you to know that the notion that a cigar bar, lounge, whatever you want to call it, is a worthwhile source of revenue does not in any way account for the true cost and the impact of that person smoking and having a place come over here and smoke, and the secondhand smoke that happens to the people that are in there. I've already answered about how it's worse than cigarettes. Cigar smokers are 4 to 10 times more likely to die from cancers of the mouth, larynx, and esophagus than non-smokers. The state of Louisiana totally voted this idea down. The tobacco industry has already spent over $345 million to get organizations and government entities such as yourself to hear this and to take this on. This is a way for them to combat and come back against the smoke-free ordinances. You all have received numerous letters from major health organizations, the American Heart Association. You've heard from our chief of cardiac thoracic surgery, the American Lung Association, the American Cancer Association, Breathe Easy Augusta, the Center for Black Health and Equity, as well as AU Health, the Medical Association of Georgia. And for God's sakes, we do not need to exchange dollars for the city for the health of our citizens. And that's what this is a simple question of. I would strongly encourage, and I don't know that I'm allowed to make a recommendation to the legislators here, but I would encourage y'all to go visit Greenville, South Carolina. Greenville, South Carolina's government decided a major revitalization project, and you would be shocked what they've done along their Reedy River, along the Swamp Rabbit Trail, and business is booming in downtown Greenville, and they're one of the most profitable cities around. By 2025, they're predicted to be the healthiest place in the nation to live. So I just want to share on behalf of our entire team, and we're just a small group. Dr. Samantha Sojourner grew up here in Augusta as Samantha Jones, one of the first people in her family. She's on our team. She was not called on to speak today. She has a wonderful story to share. But I just want to say I appreciate you considering what true facts are. I think when all of us make decisions about filing our income taxes, how much we're going to give to church or not give to church, what doctor we're going to, what doctor we're not going to, we don't base that on how much things cost. I don't go to a doctor based on how much he costs. I based on is he qualified, the facts. I want to know where he went to medical schools, he board certified, and all those things. These are facts. I don't know how you want to exchange health for finances. Any questions I can answer?
Thank you, Dr. Tingen. We do have a question. The chair recognizes the Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, really, not a question for you, but you can answer it if you wish to. Do you think not having cigar bars discourages people from smoking cigars?
I think not having cigar bars says to the citizens of Augusta and Richmond County that the commissioners that run our government encourage people to promote a healthy lifestyle. And when the commission promotes an exemption from an ordinance we already have in effect, I think the commissioners are sending a strong message that, frankly, we don't give a you-know-what about your health. Go out there and smoke it up in the bar.
Well, I kind of agree with you, but as I stand in my yard, I watch my neighbor. He's driving his tractor, and he's got a cigar in his mouth. As I go by and watch the men under the tree, they have a cigar in their mouths. As I go other places and I'm in traffic and I see people with cigars in their mouth. So what I'm saying is that, and I'm not a smoker and I'm not a drinker, what I'm saying is that it's going to be done anyway. And to give it or make a cigar bar would just give them a place to go. They are going to do it anyway.
Well, there's a lot of laws that are broken on a regular basis, and we do our best to provide for safety, for health, and criminality in every way we can. We have a beautiful lake many miles from here. If they want to drive the lake and smoke in the fresh air, that's their prerogative if it's a smoke-free area. But to encourage going back, and I think the legal question is a critical point. It's a very critical point. I mean, you passed a smoke-free ordinance that was comprehensive, and now this is a way of big tobacco to get you to change your mind, and so.
Right, and I agree with you, but I also agree with what I said. The thing that we have to take into consideration also, A lot of people don't understand the plight of a commissioner. We have to sit here, listen, and make decisions for all of Augusta. If we were to split this thing down the middle, you'd have 100,000 over there and 100,000 over there.
Yes.
So when we make a decision, I tell people, don't take it to heart. But what we try to do is do what's best for Augusta, Georgia.
Right, absolutely, and I appreciate that. That's what you should be doing. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 9th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I would like to suggest that we have legal to look into this for us to see if we are going to be liable for this. I know everybody can. I think the person's seat that I took always said that we can be sued for anything. So I think we need to bring this back.
Second. Okay. If she's making a motion, I'll second it.
All right, so hold on. I want to just tell everybody our posture. We've got a substitute motion to deny this that's on the table right now. That's the superior motion that's in front of us right now to deny it. Yes, there's a substitute motion to deny. And then, of course, there's an underlying motion that is to approve it. No. The commissioner, I don't know which one of you all made it. I can't remember, Madam Clerk.
If we could ask Commissioner Clark to withdraw.
Mr. Hassan and Mr. Dennis Williams.
Okay, Mr. Hassan and Mr. Williams made the main motion to approve it. Okay, all right, that's the main motion. The substitute motion is to deny this. That is what's before us right now. Okay?
Could
All right, state your inquiry. Commissioner
we
from the
ask
seventh,
Commissioner
state your-
Clark to rescind his substitute motion?
No.
I don't think he was listening.
Can you
I can't hear half of you because.
All
I'm
right,
not
Commissioner,
talking to
the
the microphone.
Commissioner from the 10th, the matter that's before us right now, the Commissioner from the 9th asked about legal, inquiring about this matter. That is what the Commissioner from the 9th asked.
I heard that.
Okay, all right. Okay, the Commissioner from the 10th wants to vote it up or down.
Yes.
Okay. All right, voting. This is to deny. A motion to deny.
Two.
He asked him what he want. Give me here. He good. You needed me?
Where are we?
That motion fails 3-6-1. With Mr. Franham voting yes, Mr. Brandon Garrett, and Mr. John Clark. Voting no, Mr. Johnson, Miss McKnight, Mr. Mason, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Ben Hassan, and Ms. Francine Scott. Abstaining, Mr. Dennis Williams.
All right, Madam Clerk, I believe that brings us to the main motion.
Yes,
The main
sir.
motion was to adopt
Yes, sir.
item number 19. That is to approve. All right?
Yeah. Is he?
All right. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
This is has the potential to be a very serious, very serious agenda item. And for myself, I would like the opportunity to get more smart, if you will, if you want to use that as a term, so that I can do what would be appropriate in this particular case. Now, I know we've disposed of a substitute motion. We have a main motion on the floor. But it's difficult at this point with the information that's given. I definitely want to say that I'm not, I'm business friendly, first and foremost. There's no doubt about that to the gentleman that came up. So this is nothing personal there. Make sure we fully understand that. But at the same time, there's some real issues that are brought to the table that we as commissioners have to make tough decisions on. And I don't have a problem making a tough decision. It's just that there's some information in here I would really like to look over before up or down, or I may have to do an abstain on this particular one at this time. So I don't know what we can do at this point. There's another way to do it. Maybe pull back and give an opportunity for further discussion. But this is serious for our city, and it's serious for us, and I would hope that we would give it the attention that it deserves. And I know I wasn't up here, and maybe I missed out on a lot, but my vote is going to count, and I want my vote to count appropriately and go in the right direction. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to go to the commissioner from the first, the author of this, and give him an opportunity to speak to the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Then I'm going to come to the parliamentarian.
Thank you, sir. I think we've been discussing this now for quite some time. I think we have the information. This is not to Commissioner Mason's point. I do agree. We want to make informed decisions. So, but I think we've been talking about this for quite some time. I think the commission has arrived to a point whether we want to vote it up or down. If it passes, I think, okay, great. If it fails, okay, great. The city will continue. But I think we should just vote this thing up or down so we can move on to some of the more important business on the agenda today.
Okay. All right. All right. We have a main motion. Voting.
Is Mr. Gary here? Okay. That motion carries 6-4, with Mr. Johnson voting yes, Mr. Dennis Williams, Ms. Catherine McKnight, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Ben Hassan, and Ms. Francine Scott. Voting no, Mr. Mason, Mr. Franum, Mr. Garrett, and Mr. Clark.
All right, Madam Clerk. Now the question before us is, well, I guess we'll still take them individually. Item number 17.
Item 17 is for approval. The Planning Department recommends amending the Georgia Code Alcoholic Beverage Section 6-2-2 so as to provide a definition for a cigar bar lounge. Was that Mr. Bobby Williams? Oh.
Hassan and Dennis Williams.
Okay.
Voting.
That motion fails 5-4.
Okay.
With Mr. Johnson voting yes, Mr. Dennis Williams, Ms. McKnight, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Ben Hassan. Voting no, Mr. Mason, Mr. Franum, Mr. Garrett, and Mr. Clark, and Ms. Scott out.
Item number 18.
Item 18 for approval, the Planning Commission Department recommends amending the Augusta, Georgia Code Administrative and Regulatory Fee Structure, Section 2-1-3C, so as to establish the regulatory fee for a cigar bar lounge.
Motion to approve. Second.
Voting.
She's out. She's out. That motion fails 5-4. With Mr. Johnson voting yes, Mr. Dennis Williams, Ms. McKnight, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Hassan voting no, Mr. Mason, Mr. Franham, Mr. Garrett, and Mr. Clark. Ms. Scott out.
Item number 20.
Item number 20 is discuss, consider probation, suspension, or revocation of the business tax certificate for Sure Partners doing business as Azalea Park Apartments, 1814 Fayetteville Drive, for violating the occupation tax ordinance.
Okay. I believe Director Sherman is speaking to this matter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Director Sherman, item number 20.
Give me just 1 second, if you would. So, this is an agenda item. The apartment complex that's referenced is on Fayetteville Drive. It's off of Milledgeville Road where Deansbridge Road forks. The current owner purchased the property in 2018. We've had quite a few cases out there, property maintenance cases, since 2018. In, I believe it was May of this year, we had maybe 26 cases. They currently have 3 burned structures that have been in that condition for a while. The tenants are constantly complaining. When we put this on the agenda, the owners became a little bit more active in being concerned about the property. I think 4 cases have been corrected, but there's still 22 that are outstanding. So we brought it to you because we just didn't feel like they were taking our notices seriously enough. So the recommendation before you is to take action against their business license, to deny, suspend, or revoke, is the caption. The actual recommendation is to place them on probation until October the 31st. That's roughly 60 days, but until October the 31st. And to go ahead and place them on the agenda for the November 2nd meeting, commission meeting. On the 1st of November, the property will be re-inspected. If they're not in compliance, at that time we're asking that you revoke their business license. And at that time, we'd like to discuss having the other tenants removed from the property. It's just been a constant problem. Now, Mr. Dunaway is here to speak on their behalf.
Okay, all right, we'll recognize him here in just a second. All right, I just want to make sure everybody's calibrated. The recommendation from the planning department is for probation until November the 2nd.
October 31st.
Well, October the 31st.
And then
with coming
placed
back
on the
that.
November 1st agenda. If not in compliance, and revoke the business license. That's what he's
correct.
recommending.
And that would be total compliance.
Okay, all right, Mr. Dunaway?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. The owner of this apartment complex just reached out to me week before last and asked me if I could get involved helping him out. And unfortunately, I proceeded to test positive. And so I was not able to go in front of the Public Services Commission last week and spoke with Mr. Brown. They were kind enough to roll it over to the full commission. First thing I saw when I looked at this is exactly what Director Sherman said. They didn't take this seriously and they were not responsive enough. They have gotten the owner's attention. I've helped get their attention. Y'all have gotten their attention. I've explained to them they got 60 days if they're lucky, if y'all are willing to go along with that recommendation, and they have assured me they're going to get it done. They have a new manager in place who's actually here with me today, came on the job a month ago. They've done a much better job of getting people in place since she's gotten involved a month ago. It's Ms. Catrice Wynn. We've able to get at least 4 cleared up. I think there's 2 others that were inspected this morning that could possibly be closed out, and they actually have informed me of another one that is in the works. All the others, I'm told, are in progress, and part of what I need to do is get the facts of what's going on, and I unfortunately have not been able to do that because I've been in quarantine. But we have already discussed trying to get together as soon as this is over with all the people involved, go over each of the open cases, know exactly what needs to be done, and get it done so that we don't have to waste any more of y'all's time with this.
So, Mr. Dunaway, I believe what you're saying is you're in concurrence with the October 31st date of being placed on probation and coming back in full compliance at the November 2nd meeting. Is that correct?
I am. The only thing I would ask, Mr. Mayor, is that if we can show a good faith effort and we're close, if we've got 20 of 22 and we're working on the other one, I'd like the opportunity to present that to y'all to show if they come back and they've done 1 or 2, then I'm going to tell y'all to take it. But if they're close, I'd ask that y'all please let's bring this back on the agenda in November in 60 days and see where we are. That's what I'd ask.
All right, I believe the Mayor Pro Tem is going to make a motion about accepting the recommendation of the planning director.
Right, correct. I'd like to accept the recommendation of the motion to approve accepting the recommendation.
Okay.
Second.
I got a motion and a second again, and that is
Mayor,
they're placed on probation until 31 October, and they'll work with our planning department to get into compliance, and at which time they'll bring that matter back before us. All right, Chair recognizes the Engineering Services Chairman. State your inquiry.
Thank you. This question is actually for Director Sherman. This really has nothing to do with the action we're going to take, but it is interesting that we're bringing a residential development up for basically having their license taken. How long did it take us to get here? Because you and I know very well of a very problematic one in my district that can't seem to get any action. So what's it going to take to get their attention?
I think the same thing.
Okay. That's all I need to hear. All right. Thank you.
Voting. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I did just want to comment and highlight, I think we talked about the blight ordinance in the past and how we utilize that. This is one example of those. So those others that we talked about, this is one that was on your list that was in the queue. We'll likely be seeing additional action as we move forward. So we do want to just kind of note that versus calling out those different ones. I think you'll start seeing more action come before the commission as we implement this new existing ordinance.
All right, thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner from, well, he waves. Voting.
That motion carries with Ms. Scott out. Item 23, sir.
Madam Clerk, I'm going to suggest that we take all of the remaining items that are on the agenda and vote on them at the same time.
Okay, for you, you
Motion
for
to
real.
approve.
For real.
That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
Oh, he wanted to have a little levity.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Break it up.
You got folks out there looking at me like, what's the mayor doing? What's he doing? What's he doing?
But I do want to do a motion to approve 23.
Second.
Wait a minute, that's Mr. Bobby
We
Williams
voting?
and Mr. Franham to approve item 23?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Would you like for me to vote? Voting.
Nah.
He got jokes too.
Nah. Mr. Garrett? I think Ms. Scott's out. Yes, sir. Oh, he's. That motion carries with Ms. Scott out.
Oh, 32?
We're down to item number 32.
I want a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion carries with Ms. Scott out. Item
Item number
35 and 36.
35.
6, receivers
Well,
information.
36 is an update.
We need
Let's
that.
see here. We got updates on speed humps. We got updates on residential development.
40.
All right, so let's just take 35 by itself.
Okay. Receivers information, road condition rating, technology review, and Augusta paving management program update. This
Motion to accept as information.
Second.
Mayor, if I may.
All right. Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 7th on that one.
I'd like to make a motion for 35, 36, and 38 to go back to committee.
30. Well, can we carry this one?
35, 36, and
Oh, you
38
want-
to go back
okay,
to committee.
that's a substitute motion for
It's a
that
substitute motion for
We've already done
35,
42.
36, and 38, Madam Clerk, to go back to committee.
one. Okay, who second that for Mr. Frannum? Okay. Next committee, that's 35, 36, and 39,
38,
38.
yes. No.
No.
We already addressed that.
36,
That was already
37,
done.
and 38.
We've only got one
Next
item left.
committee.
I thought you consented that. Oh,
No, he didn't add that. Are we going to add 40?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I had consent by it.
Receiving update on.
Receive as
tree
information
ordinance.
without objection. I'm sorry, refer back to committee without objection.
So moved.
All right,
We
without
have
objection.
it, Mr. Williams, that's going to be at the next meeting as well.
Yes, next committee meeting. All right, which means we've got the final item 45. Or 45 and 46, I suppose. Okay.
Okay, 45,
Mayor,
46.
you gonna allow me to take
All
my
right.
personal point of?
Chair, yeah. So let everybody just hold for a moment. We've got two items in front of us, item 45 and 46. The Chair of Engineering Services, state your inquiry.
Thank you. Before we got out of the engineering discussion, there was some items that were consented, but there was a quick video that our partners with Orion wanted to share. It's 1 minute and 12 seconds, Mayor Pro Tem, so it won't take long. And so if you want to play that, we'll call Orion up to make this presentation.
I'm in a giving mood today, Madam Clerk.
You got it.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Brad Avery with Orion Waste Solutions. And I just had a video that I
It's
dropped off of
uploading.
them drive.
It's uploading.
It's uploading? Great. Oh, it's already on there. Is there possibly a mouse here or something?
Can you go ahead? All right, assistance is on the way.
There we go. Thank you.
Just one video, correct?
Yes, just one video. I just got to find it here.
I believe you want the one to the left, A.
If I had my glasses on, I could see it. This right here? It's a video, not a PowerPoint.
Oh, well, it wasn't a video.
Oh, there should be a video on there. An MP. That's what it was. There we go.
Hey, we just want to thank you for being so kind to us as a company and helping us to really achieve the goal that we all set out to achieve, and that's to service the Augusta area. And we appreciate the extension of the contract that you gave us. And we just wanted to give you an invite to ride with us if you would like to. And I want to give these other fellows a chance to say something about the company because we're all in this together.
I want to appreciate y'all. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad for working for this company. And he don't say about most of what I was going to say. I should have went first, but I want to thank y'all very much.
Me too. Thank y'all very much for the contract. We hope we can extend it. Come out and ride with us. Thanks.
Hi, Commissioners. This is Maria with Orion Waste. I want to actually thank you for considering the extension on the contract and would like to invite you all to have a ride with us. Come see what we do. We enjoy our job. This is great teamwork. How about give us a try?
Hey, we just want to thank you for...
I don't want to lose loop on it. But Commissioners, thank you very much. We appreciate everything that you guys do. We appreciate working for the City of Augusta. And as it stands, all of our drivers, all of our employees, the men and women that work with us, extend the offer that if you'd like to come and ride one of the vehicles and see what they do in 95-degree weather, you can, or you can pick a really nice day when it's, you know, maybe cloudy and 75, might be a little bit more enjoyable, but the
all right, thank you.
The offer's out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
We're at item number 45.
I believe so.
Discussion on the recommended path forward to deliver Fire Station number 3 initially authorized via SPLOS 7 and subsequent commission action. The Administrator.
Chair recognizes Administrator Dunn.
All righty, good afternoon, Commission. I'll be brief. I think we went over at the last meeting in pretty solid detail the actions that have occurred related to Fire Station number 3. With a brief recap for the edification of the public, all but about $80,000 allocated of that $7.5 million went to the construction of Fire Stations number 2 and Fire Stations number 20. Provided some supplemental information to the commission to kind of jog our memories and bring us back to 2019, a little bit prior to my tenure, where you took action to allocate fund balance from the EMSC funds to resolve this issue. Unfortunately, that fund is down to about $110,000 as it was used to supplement fire budget over the last 2 years. We believe that we will still be able to resolve this issue. While there's no issue taken from the commission today, just wanted to give you some insights and a timeline. The original estimates related to soil remediation was about $500,000. That was done in the middle of 2019, so we expect those costs to have increased significantly, partially because it only addressed the removal of some of the materials and did not address any of the subgrade for rock and asphalt and concrete. That $1 million is available through the fire fund, for which I would not recommend using the full fund to supplement those funds, but we believe we can address the remediation. The first thing that we have to do, which we're working on now, is to get updated estimates, as those have long expired. We expect to have those back close to the end of the year, and then we would use existing funding, for which we would come back before the commission to address the soil remediation. Based on our projections for both SPLOST 7 as well as some adjustments that we expect in SPLOST 8, we believe at the first commission meeting in January that we would be able to make a recommendation to the commission to allocate the full funding to fire station number 3, and thus we would resolve the problem and deliver within budget. And so our timeline would be to bring back, once we get the estimates for the soil remediation, to allocate those funds in FY21, which we're in now, and in FY22 at the first commission meeting, we believe that we'd be able to allocate those funds based on either existing SPLOST 7 funds or proposed reallocation in SPLOST 8. And so we're confident that that is our path forward and that there's enough funding to be able to deliver this project that was committed to back in 2015. If you have any questions, I'll answer those at this time.
Hang on a second. Any comments?
Yes, sir.
All right, Commissioner Garrett.
I think Commissioner Clark was ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
Well, the queue is screwed up, but Commissioner Clark, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The thing that absolutely amazes me is that, it says as a result, the staff has identified funding that won't negatively impact the city's overall fiscal position. We have the fastest growing district in the city of Augusta, District 3, that has grown, I think, probably about 25%. And yet the nearest fire station to the outreach of District 3, it takes like 15 minutes, I believe, to get there. I'm not 100% sure. But I know, and I'm not going to speak for any other commission, I'll speak for myself. I've had several of the residents call and complain about different issues about, EMS service, which includes fire service. So I guess my answer is, why can we and how can we find money to do all these other things that are just on a wish list and not find money to provide services and protection to our citizens in District 3, way out, going Highway Jimmy Dias Parkway? So I think that, postponing this until January, I don't think that's acceptable. I think that we really need to identify some funding and get this project, underway within 90 days. That's my recommendation.
Administrator.
Yeah, I'm not certain. I don't think, maybe I didn't do a great job explaining. So you have to be able to bid out. Your last bid was in September of 2019. That bid did not include all of the work that it would take to remediate. So the funding has been found, but you cannot solely just allocate in a non-emergency capacity to allocate those funds. And so we have to be able to procure those funds again. So you will use the existing funds which have been identified to deliver the soil remediation. That's $1 million that you did not account for back in 2015 prior to the land being purchased. When you purchased the land, it had issues with it that apparently the commission was not aware of. I wasn't here at that time, so I can't answer those questions. Since then, the funding that you had allocated has been overspent on two fire stations. The third one is the one that we're resolving, and I think we all agree that with it being the fastest growing, but also one of our most important districts and making sure that all of our citizens receive top-notch fire service, this proposal is not to kick anything down the can until January. It's to really resolve it in real time. we would start the procurements immediately for the soil remediation. You cannot build on it until after you have actually resolved that issue. Your plan and design is also a little bit dated because all of these activities occurred in between 2015 and 2019. So in short, we would be getting the ball rolling immediately using this funding source. But we wouldn't be able to build this fire station within 1 year's time based on the issues that exist in both soil as well as having to make additional procurements. So I think we're moving as quickly as the procurement and government process would allow us. And just a week ago, we had no idea how we were going to fund this. I believe that coming back a week later with a full resolution shows to our citizens that we are committed to deliver this fire station as quickly as possible.
Okay, and that's well and good, and I appreciate that. So how quickly can we get this into procurement to start on this?
If the commission, it doesn't take an action, but if the commission believes that we're moving in the right direction, we're prepared to move forward under this publicly stated plan to deliver the fire station.
You good, Commissioner? Clark?
Yes.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, Commissioner Garrett?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'll try to be shorter than my colleague. This question is actually just in regards, and how did we once again buy property that needed soil remediation? I mean, was there not proper due diligence that was done before we purchased this? And since we found this, is there not any legal ramifications for the person or whoever we bought this property from for not, disclosing that?
I'm not certain that it was not disclosed. Probably a better conversation for closed session. I will say, not being here, there was some due diligence that did take place during that time, and there was a public action to be able to make the purchase of the land. And so I am not certain, again, what occurred back in 2015 and wouldn't be able to speak to that within this meeting.
Attorney Brown, can we talk about this in our next legal session with the questions answered, hopefully?
Yes, sir.
You good, Mr. Garrett? Ms. McKnight?
I'll be even shorter than my two colleagues before me.
You already are.
Okay. Thank you for the wise words. I would like to see about going ahead and making a motion to approve moving forward on this today, if possible, for the Fire Station 3.
Okay, hang on a second. Hang on a second. Okay, Mr. Administrator, you've already said what?
Yeah, I don't think it takes an action from you today because we have to go forward with the procurements. When we actually get the cost of the remediation, you would then take action at that time to remediate the soil because we don't know how much it's going to cost. So we have just identified the funding. Remember, you gave us some time to bring that back. We've done that. So there's no action now. It is just us bringing back the initial procurement for soil remediation. The next procurement will be for us to move forward with the fire station. The first will happen as soon as procurement is done with the soil. The second will happen at the first meeting in January where we would allocate the funds for the actual fire station. Two separate actions. There's nothing that you need to do at this time. You just know that we have identified the funding source. Now we just need to go through the normal order of things so that we can deliver this station on behalf of the people. That's it. There's no action. It's just an update that we resolved the issue. Remember last week, we did not know how long it would take. I think I asked for a couple of months. We've resolved it within a week. So I think we've taken proactive steps, and now our public knows that the fire station will, in fact, be delivered.
Got you. Mr. Hassan?
Yes, sir. This is questions for the administrator as well as the attorney. Is there any way we can proceed this procurement as emergency services?
Let me ask a question before you. But would it be any faster if you do emergency as opposed to what you're doing?
I mean, if it were an emergency, then yes, you could because you could basically sole source it. But based on the agreements that we have, whether it be mutual or automatic aid agreements, you are delivering fire service to that community. Your response times are not in danger, and you are continuously to deliver quality service. As such, I'm not certain how you would be able to deem it emergency.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Attorney.
I concur. I do. It does not, nothing has been stated today that shows that it's an emergency. If you wanted further review of that, I would suggest, Commissioner, that you would ask the administrator to confer with procurement to see if this in any way qualifies as an emergency, but it does not appear to be an emergency.
Motion to receive information.
Second.
Without objection. We don't need to vote, do we, Ms. Bonner?
No, sir.
Okay.
We have unanimous consent.
Yeah. Any other?
We have item 46. Item 46.
Okay.
Mr. Administrator, he's asking a motion to expand the emergency authorization of vendor services under the Vax Up Augusta program to include no-cost MOAs with colleges, universities, and other key stakeholders.
Any conversation, motion? Mr. Administrator?
There is just one item that I just want to highlight. Since you did provide the emergency authorization on August 19th of 2021, based on our rules, at the next public meeting, which is this one, staff is to provide a written update as soon as reasonably possible in response to your directive noting who the current and proposed agreements and subsequent allocations are with. And just for the public record, I've provided you a memorandum of that. In addition, these MOAs are at no cost to the city. I know we have Mr. Cedric Johnson from Augusta University here. Also, President Jermaine Worrell was here earlier but had to leave. They both are two of the first who we will be coordinating MOAs with, and it would just allow them to assist us in marketing and advertising these activities to ensure that we get the feedback necessary. And again, we've publicly been putting out the information about September 8th at May Park from 1 to 5, which is our first effort. So we're also within the 3-week time frame that we stated publicly. And so if there are no additional questions, I would ask that that authorization under section 1-10-57 emergency procurement selection method not only include the MOUs to deliver the service, but additionally the no-cost MOAs.
Mr. Hassan?
Yes, sir. Mr. Administrator, will this be going out to the media for in the morning and everything?
You mean for September 8th? Yes, I believe we've already distributed our press releases. We have, yes, sir. It's always embargoed until we deliver it to you. Once you get the information, we send it out publicly, and it's across all of our social media channels as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Garrett?
I was going to make a motion to approve the administrator's recommendation.
We got a motion and a second, Ms. Bonner.
Yes, sir.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, voting.
Ms. Clark's out, Ms. Scott out, Mr. Dennis Williams is out. Okay, go ahead. They're out.
He's gone, Ms. Bonner.
And a half.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Bonner?
No, sir, we're gonna, it carries.
It carries?
With Mr. Dennis Williams, Ms. Francine Scott, and Mr. John Clark out.
Gotcha. Adjourn.
For the commission meeting?